Hey, what is up, guys? This is Church of Caboose, bringing y'all a Destiny 2 video. Now my voice sounds a little bit weird. Please excuse me, I work at a middle school. Sometimes stuff floats around and affects my voice a little bit. I happen to think it sounds pretty dang awesome, this little bit deeper, but that's just me. So anyways, in this video, we are going to be covering in super duper detail the Phase 2 fight of Galron in the Crown of Sorrow raid. Now you guys might be saying to yourselves, but Church, it's been like 3 months since June 4th came around when the Crown of Sorrow was released, and it seems kind of weird that you're doing this guide through it all right now. And you would be right. I kind of put it off for a little bit and was like, hey, you know what? I kind of was slow to the punch, wasn't quite able to get the gameplay or what, etc., full of excuses, and so I hadn't put this thing out. But what I've been finding is over the summer, probably a lot to do with the news of Shadowkeep and New Light, that free-to-play version. There's been a lot of pretty new players to Destiny. Quite a few folks have been hopping on the Destiny 2 train with the Summer of Solstice event and over the summer, as I have found from LFG and doing raids and such. And different clan members of MN ask questions about how they should do things. And I'm like, hey, we're going to go super in depth, because one thing that people have given feedback to me about when I do these different encounter guides is they're like, oh my gosh, Church, thank you so much. When people of, I guess, more renown and prestige than myself do these reviews, they kind of are, I guess, being told to me, they're like, hey, these other guys are doing these reviews and they kind of assume we know more than we actually know how to do, and you kind of assume we don't know anything. So that's what this is going to be. The whole goal of this video is to get ridiculously into the mechanics and the encounters and like the loadouts of Crown of Sorrow and how to finish this raid. Now, if you guys kind of see in that gameplay, I think it's hilarious. Phase 1, you can knock the crap out of that deception and blast him out of the dang room. But if you notice, we also had destroyed him really quickly. And if you watch the gameplay as this whole thing is rolling around, we take out Galron with like 2 hands phases when we get to the damage phase. And so I like to think that that shows at least I somewhat know what I am talking about, and hopefully can give you guys the tools you need in order to finish this. Now first, let's consider the weapons. Why weapons first? Because if you don't have the weapons that do fantastic, then you either need to be able to survive as a fire team long enough to not need those weapons to be able to do a couple of damage phases, ideally no more than 2. And then secondly, if you're not in the clan and you don't have these weapons, I might encounter a lot of frustration when you try to LFG, because sometimes people say must have Outbreak or must have etc., must have whatever, or if you hop in and they're like, what, you don't have these guns, what's the point of you even trying this, and they give you the boot. That could be the case. So let's first look into some of these most common loadouts that unfortunately some of them are time locked and RNG, but you can get at least enough of these weapons where the RNG ones probably won't matter a whole lot. So first off, let's cover the heavy weapons. So most people want someone with tractor cannon. Sometimes they want someone with Anarchy. Tractor Cannon is RNG, it drops randomly. I cannot figure out if there's any activity you can do that gives you a higher chance of the Tractor Cannon dropping over another activity, but there it is. Just if you don't have it, I guess just keep on playing and or hope you have these other weapons. The other heavy weapon that almost everyone expects you to have is Swarm of the Raven grenade launcher. It's the Iron Banner grenade launcher with spike grenades. The spike grenades do significantly more damage when you get direct hits, and when you have it paired with the tractor cannon does about a 50% damage buff to void weapons. So the Swarm of the Raven is by far, well, second highest DPS weapon. We'll get to that, what the highest one is. And then third, Anarchy. Anarchy is a random drop from the Scourge of the Past raid. However, when it comes to the Phase 2 boss clear, it is not as essential, but that is what my team used to get that insane, from my experience at least, the insane DPS that we did. We had one person with Tractor Cannon, one person with Anarchy, and the rest of us had Swarm of the Raven with Spike Grenade launchers. So those are the 3 heavies that you should try to have. If you do not have them, go through your collections and see if you have any grenade launchers that have spike grenades as a rule that you can pull from your collections. I believe there is a grenade launcher off the top of my head. I think it is a solar one, but just go through, see if you have one, and pull it out if you don't have Swarm of the Raven, Anarchy, or Tractor Cannon. Odds are you have at least 1 or 2 of those 3 weapons. Alright, now let's look at specials. Well, specials aren't as important, or in the energy weapon slot. If you notice what I use when we get into all that, I have on an age-old Bond auto rifle. I prefer to use that because once we get more into the primary, I like having something with a little bit of range, a decent amount of DPS, and we'll get into more detail about the encounter as we go. We're just covering the weapons broadly right now. So if you're using Recluse, you probably have another weapon we'll get into, but you could also use Recluse in your energy spot. Basically, it's when you use something that has enough range where you don't have to be in something's actual face in order to do a decent amount of damage, so that you have a lot of wiggle room on the special weapon slot. Depending upon what you're using for the primary, you could use exotics like Graviton Lance, Polaris Lance, you could use Sunshot, you could use a whole wide range of things. So specials that aren't at the energy slot doesn't matter quite as much. Now let's look at the primary. Really, the primary doesn't matter that much at all unless you have Mountaintop, Malicious Birthright with Spike Grenade, or Outbreak Perfected. Now you get Outbreak Perfected, it's an exotic pulse rifle. You have a 0-hour quest mission. If you're not exactly sure how to get it, I do have videos from when I first started my channel about how you get Outbreak Perfected from beginning to end, and I intend to link the video links into this description, so that way you guys, if you don't have Outbreak, you're like, what are you talking about, Church? Then you have an easy way of looking it up. Mountaintop, unfortunately, is a PvP comp pinnacle weapon. You have to do a whole bunch of grenade launcher multi-kills and grenade launcher final blows and calculate trajectories, which are 3 grenade launcher kills in 1 life, and it can take quite a bit. And so we will cover different strats involving these PvP weapons, but the whole point of my guide is really for anyone that's pretty new to Destiny or just doesn't really know how this encounter works. And they watch this video, they can just go out and beat Phase 2. And they're like, yeah, we know what we're doing because we watched Church of Cabooses video. So right now, save the video, pin it somewhere, share it to grandma or somebody where you can find it later. Just do something, get a pen and pencil out, do whatever you gotta do. So that way you are able to easily reference this video and be able to use this to your success. If you want to share it with other people like your friends or anyone else because I thought this was a good video, please do that. Just make sure you do whatever you gotta do so you can hang on to this and have this for future reference. Alright, so we covered the weapons. Now we're going to go into the encounter. So first, let's look at how this map is laid out. If you consider stairs to be the very top tippity point, we're going to call it number 1, as you can see as this diagram is folding out. Number 1 will be stairs. We're going to make a giant triangle, and we're going to always talk about this going clockwise. So if you go clockwise from 1 to 2, that would be the dogs. Now, how do you tell it is dogs? Well, if you look off to the right of dogs, if you're staring towards stairs, this would be the right of dogs, you will see some statues that look like those Cabal war beasts. So that is why that area is called dogs. This will be number 2. When we go throughout this whole encounter, I'll be calling it stairs, dogs, then number 3, void. So if you look off to the left of the stairs, you will kind of, like in that box, if there's a triangle at the left corner, where if it was making a triangle, what that would be, you will see is glowing, not so much glowing, but it is colored purple. So like from the very first encounter of this raid, you have a green canopy room and red canopy room. Well, void is essentially the same kind of coloration, only it is purple. So it is commonly referred to as void room or pop number 3. So make sure you guys remember this layout, and that's why I have this diagram up here on the screen. It is a big old triangle. Why is this important? Well, there are three things that will wipe your whole team out if you screw them up. So we're gonna first start off. Now that we've got the layout, we're gonna go over what will wipe you, how to avoid those wipes, and how everything comes together. Because guys, this raid is not nearly as hard as a lot of people seem to think it is, and I do not mean to insult anyone's intelligence or anything like that. I've been playing since D1, and this particular encounter seems to be slightly more D1-esque than past raids in Destiny 2 have been, meaning you got more things you have to worry about at the same time. You got more flexibility to save the raid, whereas other past raids, if someone screws up, it's over. But this raid, that's not the case. You get a one-up life like Mario. And so here we go. Let's get on into this. So now that we got the layout, what are the wipe mechanics? Alright, first of all, the most important one in my opinion is you have to keep that buff. So if you're watching this video, I hope you are familiar with what the buff is. You have a Witch's Blessing, and then you have a non-Witch's Blessing. So as you probably have gathered, there are 3 points. So therefore, as per usual at the whole raid, there are 3 fire teams of 2. 2 go to stairs, 2 go to dogs, 2 are on void. Now, the buff is, I guess, given when you first start the encounter. So the 3 people that will be buffed, one from void, one from stairs, one from dogs, will all be on the flag while everyone else is off in their spot. You shoot the boss, and then the green little blessing well thingy-bobber pops up right about where the flag's at. You get blessed, and then you have to spend the whole encounter trading it. Now, you might be thinking, Church, that's not a wipe mechanic. But if you guys don't remember to keep trading this whole thing off, you will quickly run out of blessings and or I guess revives, and so therefore it kind of is a wipe mechanic. It's just over a long period of time. Now let's get into the more, I guess, drastic, like everyone dies at once wipe mechanics. So the first one, we got crystals. You guys probably remember from the very first encounter, as well as the jump puzzle, how you have these different crystals you have to break. How this crystals work for phase 2 is, for sake of argument, let's say the first crystal spawns on stairs. Stairs team will say something like, hey, stairs got crystal. The blessed and the unblessed will have to hop inside this shield and break it. Now this crystal in any location can spawn in a couple of different spots, and as you play you'll kind of figure them out. I'm not going to list exactly what they are here, just know there's crystal. Now the only one I'm going to give you tips for is one spot is kind of in the middle above the stairway, so you can't really hop on a box and shoot it to break it. And that goes for the same for all 3 spots. So you're going to have to make sure you have some sort of a weapon on that doesn't require much charging up, like a fusion rifle. That's why I would suggest using something like an auto rifle or a recluse, an SMG in your special slot, or outbreak if you don't have one of those 2 grenade launchers that was mentioned earlier. So that way, when you get this one weird crystal, you can jump up, sit in that little circle because you're just kind of floating because you're jumping, and you can shoot, and you and your other guy just doing it over and over until it breaks. But anyways, so the crystal, let's say it spawns at stairs, so you break it. Good job, you broke the crystal. Now 30 seconds later, I do not suggest starting a timer, it's just kind of known it's about 30 seconds later, that crystal will spawn clockwise, so that would be on dogs, and they have to do the same thing. So let's give it different scenarios. Let's say the crystal spawns on dogs first. That means they'll be on void next. It always goes clockwise. That's the first wipe mechanic, because like the first encounter in the jump puzzle, if you do not break that crystal, you will get wiped once that cheese molds. I call it the cheese molding because when that crystal is about to wipe your whole team, it kind of starts turning green and green. It looks kind of like mold, and so I'm going to call it when the cheese molds, because I think that's kind of funny. Makes me laugh, at least. And what else can you do besides make yourself laugh? Alright, so that's the crystal. That is the probably first most important thing you have to worry about. Buff is a very close second, because if you do not have the proper buffs on your fire team or your little pairing of 2, then you gotta get an extra help. But we'll get into how we cover all that other stuff later. So the encounter, just say you shot the boss in the face, the encounter has started. You know about the crystals are floating around, you keep popping the crystals. Well, what's another wipe mechanic? Well, just like phase 1, each Galron will spawn a deception. Now, if you haven't quite noticed, every point, so stairs, dogs, and void, has a big old Galron boss dude on each of those locations, just one of them. And so you do enough of the crystal breaking, killing the ads, do that for a little while. Each Galron, just like the crystals, will spawn a deception. So if, let's just say stairs, we're going to use stairs as number 1, top of the triangle, we're just going to keep using stairs as the starting point. So stairs gets the deception, a little short while later, that means dogs will get their deception, and then void will be the last. Now how do you have the wipe mechanic from the deception? Well, just like phase 1, if you do not destroy your deception quick enough, your whole fire team will get wiped because he turns all green and is like looking towards the sky like hallelujah, and like summoning the angels of heaven to come wipe your ass out. And that's just how it is. So you gotta make sure you destroy that deception. That is wipe mechanic number 3. So I guess there's technically 4 wipe mechanics. And finally, so after you got your deception is destroyed, and don't worry, we'll get into how all that whole part works later. Then the next wipe mechanic is you have to shoot these hands. Galron on each location. Galron is the boss. Well, his hands will turn green. It looks like he's looking up towards the heavens. He's gonna clap his hands together, kind of like Callus, only in more of like a religious-looking type fashion. And so you gotta shoot his hands when they glow green. If he has his hands come together by his head, your whole team gets wiped. And those are the 4 wipe mechanics that we have to worry about. So, we're going to get on into how does this encounter actually work. To some degree, a couple of these are going to be in play at the same time. So this is especially when you want to make sure you're taking notes, saving this, writing down or noting whatever time this part is, just because this is where things are going to get a little bit tricky to, I guess, understand and perhaps remember without having a lot of wipes. And I want to try to help you guys have as few wipes as possible and to get this done as quick as possible, so that way you can do LFG, you can get more friends because they're like, hey, that guy knew what they were doing. So make sure that you guys save this, at least, the very least, save this part. If nothing else, save this part. Alright, so we're going to go how we go through the entire encounter. First, you gotta have your 3 people that will be blessed around the rally banner flag. The other 3 people are in their respective areas, 1 in stairs, 1 in dogs, and 1 in void. Once you guys are all ready and you have your weapon loadout selection, if anyone's going to use Outbreak, I would highly suggest everyone uses Outbreak. That's just my opinion. There is a possibility of a nerf having been done to Outbreak according to one of my clan members. I was not able to find proof of that though on the internet. But anyways, so make sure everyone's all set up with their weapons, everyone's all good, everyone's rallied, you got everything charged up, and then someone just shoots Galron in the face, the one that's above stairs, and that kicks off the encounter. That's what starts the encounter. So stick around if you're those 3 by the rally flag for just a couple of seconds, because that way you get the witch's blessing. Otherwise, if you hop straight out, you will probably not get blessed and miss out on that blessing, and you'll have to use the save mechanics that we'll talk about later. So you got the encounter rolling, and you're you're like, this is great, we're killing everything. What time should we switch? I always advocate switching after you destroy a crystal. No matter how much time you got left, you could start the encounter and you instantaneously get a crystal and break it. So you got 58 seconds left on your counter. Why not switch it? Just why not? Otherwise, try and switch at least around 20 seconds before your time runs out. If you don't do it around then, timing can get just kind of iffy. And so the crystals is floating around, it's going around, doing your thing, and boom! Here comes the deception. How you break the deception is a unblessed and a blessed player have to punch the deception at the same time, just like phase 1. Only there's only 2 of you instead of 6 of you. So you both punch it. Then what happens? Well, Galron's hand will turn green. If you look at Galron, his hand will turn green. You have to shoot that hand. He'll spawn in an axe in the hand and slam the ground. So make sure when you punch the deception that the deception's up on that flat platform type area, ideally between the 2 main boxes that are on every single platform on stairs, dogs, and void. And while that axe is coming down, get off of that platform. If you don't, there's a chance you'll be killed. You will most definitely get thrown up into the sky and have a hilarious trying to save yourself from dying as you fall. You're like, oh my gosh, 'cause I'm free falling. I'm bad singing, but you get the idea. So that's how you make that part work. So you have the deception, and then once the deception's gone, you might be like, but church, now we both don't have buffs. Well, this will also play into how you can save mistakes. But then you gotta be like, let's just say Stairs. Stairs got the deception. You guys both punch the deception. The hand comes down, breaks that, destroys the deception, and you need to have someone get that buff back. Well, someone on Stairs needs to go to your appropriate fruit. And since we're mentioning fruit, just like phase 1, everyone always goes clockwise with the fruits. If you're on stairs, you go to the fruit to the right that's counted by dogs. Dogs goes to the fruit to the right that's counted by void. Void goes to the fruit to the right that's counted by stairs. But anyway, stairs, they're like, hey, I need a buff. You're on your fruit, and someone else's has the buff, just shoots their fruit. They get their blessing back, and they just do business as normal. And that's how it works for everybody. So just quick recap. You're destroying crystals. Deception spawns. You're both blessed and unblessed, so that all 3 pairs of 2. One of those pairs punches their deception at the same time while they're on that flat platform area, ideally in between the 2 main boxes that are up on that flat kind of area underneath Galron. Then you see Galron's hand turns green. You shoot the hand. The hand spawns in a big old axe, and the axe smacks the ground. The deception is destroyed. Then you get your blessing. All right, cool. Now what? Well, this is where it gets pretty fun. All right. It's not more complicated. It gets fun because it gets easier. So you keep doing your thing with killing the ads. You're trading your buff back and forth. Love and life. Andy Griffith song. Boo. Anyways, the hands. Oh, you notice. There's like an eerie quiet before the storm. You see Galron's hands turn green. Yeah, shoot the hands, because that means you're almost at damage phase. Now, what this part's doing is all 3 platforms will have the hands glowing green. You are finding out which Galron is the Galron you have to actually kill. So you shoot the hands, and you shoot the face. Then your Galron will either disappear, just vanish out of thin air, or it'll stay. If your Galron stays, that means that is the actual Galron that you do damage to. Now at this point, once everyone has either shot their Galron and he disappears, or the other 2 or the other one and the Galron stays, then you gotta trade your blessing, because the blessing, the witch's curse, still applies during this whole shebang. So make sure you trade that blessing off before you go and run off to do damage. Also, look and see which side has the crystal, because usually 1 crystal will spawn at this point. And if you miss that crystal, you all wipe. And you did all that work and all that fantastic awesomeness for nothing. So make sure you get that last crystal down, and that you all switch your blessing. Then you run to wherever Galron's at, and someone ideally will have a well. They drop a well. You hit the head, hit the hands again. Gotta do the hands again. And then once you shoot those hands down, and it'll look just like it did before when you were on your own platform, just you and your buddy. Then you gotta shoot him in the face a whole bunch of times. But guys, make sure as soon as you start seeing where his face shows immune to damage, you stop and you go for the hands. Because if you keep shooting at the face once it says immune, you lose damage phase time. So now let's look at how the damage phase works. So the damage phase is basically broken up into shoot the face, shoot the hands, shoot the face, shoot the hands, over and over and over until Galron disappears, or until you one-phase him. That's all it is. And if he disappears, that means you gotta do the whole shebang I just described with the crystals and everything and the deceptions all over again. So ideally, you one phase them. The easiest way to one phase them: tractor cannon, swarm with a raven, mountaintop, and whatever else you're using for special ammo, because you shouldn't need anything else besides your heavy and your primary. Or outbreak, I guess. Alright, so you're shooting the head, and you're like, oh no, it's immune. But if you keep shooting, that means you're going to lose time and lose one of those hands. Because when you shoot the hands, you're kind of like stunning him to keep Galron at that location a little bit longer. So as soon as it shows immune, when you're doing damage to his face, look at the hands, shoot the hands, and then go right back to the face. And that is the encounter. And then you beat him. And you're like, yeah, woohoo! Everything's great. It went exactly how Church described. But wait. Sometimes things get a little bit more tricky. We're going to talk real quick about how to prioritize and fix mistakes. Because, guys, if mistakes happen, this is a very forgiving raid. You can, in fact, fix mistakes without it getting lots of people killed or having to wipe. It's okay. Things will happen. All right, so let's just throw out a hypothetical here. Let's say someone from the very beginning hopped out of the circle too early, so only 2 people are blessed. Well, that one person that needs to be blessed can just run into a circle or to the fruit and be like, hey, Void needs to be blessed. And so someone that's blessed just shoots your fruit and while you're destroying it, and then boom, you're blessed. That's how you fix it. It's as simple as that. If anyone ever loses blessing, or if like your blessed person dies during the encounter and you need to get blessing back, all they gotta do is whoever's gonna be blessed just hops into by a fruit, shoots at the fruit, says, "Hey, I need someone to shoot Void fruit, give Void blessing, whatever." And then whoever is blessed needs to just know to look at that spot and shoot the fruit, and then bam, you fix that mistake. Not a huge deal. Now here's some prioritizing. Say you have a crystal and deception at the same time. What do? Well, the crystal is going to wipe your team a whole lot faster. And if you do the deception first, you lose your blessing. So let's say I'm in your fire team. I've got blessing and you don't. And we have the fruit appear and we got the deception. I have the blessing and we punch the deception. Well, I lost my blessing, so I gotta get my blessing back super quick to destroy the crystal, or else the crystal will just explode and we all die. So what I would suggest you do is you get the crystal first and then deal with the blessing. Now let's go at even a little bit more complicated scenario. Let's say that the timer is like on 5 seconds and crystal spawns, deception spawns. Like, oh no, it's all this stuff happening at once. And it has happened, folks. This has happened. You bet your bottom dollar it'll probably happen to you eventually. Well, you probably should just get your blessings switched. Then you get your crystal, then the deception, because if you do crystal, then you have to run back to the fruit and switch and hope you didn't run out of time and get Witch's Curse. Then you gotta run back into the deception, or you just go to the fruit, you switch, you got a minute to kill to use your blessing to kill the crystal. The crystal probably only has like 15-20 seconds before it kills your team, but you have plenty of time after that to deal with the deception. Now, the deception can be kind of tricky. A lot of people like to have a well down on the platform so that way you get extra health because his melee damage does a lot. Some people also like to have Titans with Bubble Shield and Helm Saint 14, the Titan helmet's exotic. So that way when the deception hops into your Bubble Shield, he gets stunned and you just punch him there. Whatever works best for you. You don't even need to have those things. You just gotta be with your teammate and be like, hey, let's punch him, 3, 2, 1. You just hop in, punch him, and then that's it. Alright guys, I really hope this video helps. I try to get as in-depth as I possibly could think of without making this be like an hour-long video. I really hope this helps. If this did, please feel free to smash that like button. I put a lot of work and a lot of time and effort into making this for you guys, just because I know people benefit from having more of this in-depth look as opposed to have some other people do their guides. So thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more content from me, please click the subscribe button to keep the most update with myself. I also do things on Twitch, and that's what I use for recording my gameplay, and sometimes on my mixer. Members of the people, I would like to give a special shout out to our Captain Derp 78, Cable TK, and Angry Elmo with a bunch of X's throughout there. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate your help. Anyways, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. My name is Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.